SpaceX hits a milestone of $350 billion valuation. Is an IPO imminent? Let's talk about it. Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much once again joining me for tea time. Today we have a little bit of focus and misty morning combination. So you know I love that zing and the bergamot. I hope you're joining me with your cup of tea, maybe a cup of coffee, hanging out, talking tech, talking photo, talking video. Today we're talking none of it. We're talking about finances. No, we're talking about SpaceX and how they just hit this milestone, this massive milestone of $350 billion valuation. Nuts, people. Absolutely nuts. That makes it the most valued company, private company in the entire world. Absolutely amazing. I was reading an article over on Bloomberg, as we love Bloomberg. Not really, but we found an article over there that really kind of shows exactly what has been going on and the time frames and whatnot. I just think that it's amazing because I said from the very beginning when I started this about 40 plus months ago, when I got SpaceX Starlink, when it was just coming out of beta, I said, you know, this is revolutionary. This is not just revolutionary for me and my family, but it's going to be revolutionary for everyone on the planet. And that's exactly what has been going on here. I was right, guys. I was right. It happens every once in a while. I also said at the time, if there was a way for me to buy into SpaceX Starlink, I would. From the very beginning, I would. That's how committed I was to it. I really do believe that it is unbelievably amazing, number one, but also the trajectory that this thing is on is like this, okay? It is just rapid growth. So I want to read some of this article for you, and then I want to give you my commentary and my thoughts on a possibility of an IPO where the stock will be coming out publicly and you'll be able to purchase a SpaceX Starlink stock. Is that going to happen? Is it not going to happen? I want to go through some of that with this new valuation, this increase of like $100 billion or something. Absolutely unbelievable. Anyways, before we get into this, I want to say that if you enjoy the content, as always, throw it a thumbs up. That'll be very helpful. Don't forget to share with your community, colleagues, Reddit, Facebook, wherever. Sharing is caring. Also, if you haven't subscribed, consider doing so. If you have, thank you. I appreciate that. Click this little notification button over here so when I go live or when a new video comes out, you'll be notified of it immediately. And if you want to take advantage of my free ebooks, go to JCristina.com/books. Once again, JCristina.com/books. And if you want more Starlink content, when you're done watching this video, don't do it yet. I'm going to put a playlist over here of about 380 videos that I've put together specifically for you, all on SpaceX Starlink and what to buy, what not to buy, how-tos, tips, tricks, and of course the why behind it all, because this channel is always about the why. And finally, if you want to give back to the channel, let's say, and you want to donate, there's a little donation button down here. You can give $1 or $2 if you like. If not, that's perfectly fine. The video is still free. Consider becoming a member of the channel. That would be even better. So guys, let's jump right into this article and then I will give you my commentary. And finally, I want to hear from you down below in the comment area. What do you think about all of this? And if you're shy, you don't want to put something down there, put an emoji down there. Put a satellite or a rocket or a poop emoji. I don't know, something. Or maybe a banana. Something. Put some type of emoji down there just so I know that you got to the end of this video, or at least you have watched the video. That would be even better. All right, I would appreciate that. Starts out, once again, this is from Bloomberg. SpaceX is in discussion to sell insider shares that could boost the value of Elon Musk's rocket and satellite company to over $350 billion, according to people familiar with the matter. That would be a significant premium to a previous mold valuation of $255 billion, as reported by Bloomberg News and other media outlets just last month. So within a month, guys, within a month, you're looking at almost $100 billion more in valuation. Absolutely incredible. incredible, the growth on SpaceX Starlink. It would also cement SpaceX's status as the most valuable private startup in the world. Like I said, SpaceX was last valued at about $210 billion in a tender offer early this year. SpaceX, formerly known as Space Exploration Technology Corporation, didn't immediately respond to a request for comment. The current conversation with SpaceX is ongoing, and the details of a potential transaction could change depending on interest from insider sellers and buyers, said the people who asked not to be identified because they are not authorized to speak publicly. The so-called tender or secondary offering, through which employees and some early shareholders can sell shares, provides investors in the closely held SpaceX a way to generate liquidity amid deepening ties between Musk and President-elect Donald Trump. Interesting there. Very interesting. The potential valuation surge underscores the enormous gains that Musk's empire has seen since the U.S. presidential election. Tesla Incorporated shares are up 42% since November 5th, while Musk's own wealth has soared to about $353 billion, according to Bloomberg's Billionaire Index. At roughly $350 billion, SpaceX will also be on par with some of the most largest publicly traded companies in terms of market capitalization. So if you're like me, you're going to have questions like, well, how can the regular investor get involved with SpaceX Starlink? Regular investor like you and I. Is that a possibility? Is there any way for us to purchase shares as of right now? Also, will there be a public offering of any kind, an IPO, so that we can definitely get involved with SpaceX Starlink? And of course, if all of this proves to be no, is there any other way that we can invest in space and still be able to turn a profit using or holding on to the coattails of SpaceX Starlink and their meteoric rise, I would have to say, literally like this. And I was listening to some of Elon Musk's interviews recently. I would have to say the answer to an IPO coming very soon would be no. And the reason being is he does not want to lose control over SpaceX Starlink or SpaceX, nothing, right? He wants complete control. And whenever you relinquish control to a board of directors and then the public, basically, you cannot do everything that you want to do, okay? Because it all then has to do with money and making sure that everyone has the money that they're looking for. Your fiduciary responsibility to make sure that the company is profitable at all times. It's a problem. And Elon Musk doesn't like that problem, all right? So that's why I think that there's not going to be an IPO soon. The only way that I can see an IPO happening is that SpaceX and Starlink broke apart, and then maybe he would IPO Starlink, bring in just a crazy amount of money, once again, to fund SpaceX to get to Mars. Possibility, breaking it apart. He's talked about this in the past. Is it going to happen? I don't know. It could happen, all right? Because it would definitely mean for a lot of money, a ton of money when it comes to SpaceX Starlink. It's just a hard thing to do. And I think that that's something that he's going to have to really consider, because already we're seeing now a movement from $255 billion valuation to $350 billion, literally $100 billion in like a month additional. That just shows where the money bucks people, the market analysis people are looking at this and saying, this thing is going to blow up. This is not like a Lockheed Martin or a Boeing or an Amazon Project Kuiper or any of this kind of nonsense. Not even AST Space Mobile. It's just simply not. Now, if you want to get involved and there is no IPO that's coming and you do not have the ability to buy in to those private shares, okay, which is not going to be a lot of people that can, well, you can ride the coattails once again of Amazon's Project Kuiper and your AST, Space Mobile, and Lockheed Martin, and of course Boeing and all the rest of them that are involved in the rocket business or the telco business, as Amazon is trying to get involved with their Project Kuiper. Still not a single satellite in space, but that doesn't mean that people won't look at it and say, hey, let's invest, because it might take off if they ever get some satellites into space, right? So it still could be a good play. And of course, we have AST Space Mobile. That thing has went up like 400%. And they really don't do a lot, okay? They don't do a lot. They're trying to compete with SpaceX's DTC, or direct to cell service, right? Where you can just pick up your phone and text or make a phone call using a satellite that acts as a cell tower in space. Now, the reason I said that breaking up SpaceX Starlink and SpaceX would be a pretty good idea if he wants to go down that road. And the reason being is SpaceX Starlink provides about close to 70% of all profits from SpaceX. 70%. So the other 30% would be their Falcon 9 rockets, launching, whatever, and this type of thing. Okay, that is it. 30% SpaceX for their rocket business, and 70% for their SpaceX Starlink business. So breaking that apart would definitely give SpaceX Starlink a major head start, because it is that big. So out of that valuation of $350 billion, 70% of that is SpaceX Starlink and not SpaceX. So some people would say, well, why is it that SpaceX is not making as much money as Starlink is? And the bottom line here is recurring revenue, right? Because any type of recurring revenue model makes a lot of money. Look at Adobe. They went from a model where you purchase something, all right, you own it in perpetuity, and if you want to upgrade, you can, to a model where you have to pay forever. You just continuously pay this rental fee and you never stop. That is why SpaceX Starlink makes so much money, because it's recurring revenue. It's not a one-time thing where you launch a rocket off, you get paid, and that's it. This is happening every single month, and the market size is growing massively. So when I first started with SpaceX Starlink, there was 112,000 people on board. That's all of us beta testers and everyone else that came on board at the very beginning. There was 112,000 when I started. Before the end of 2024, SpaceX Starlink will have 5 million customers. 5 million globally. So when I started, once again, 112,000, now 5 million, like what, 40 months ago? In 40 months? That's just crazy. Just over 3 years, you went from 100,000 to 5 million. That just shows the rapid, just amazing growth. And of course, the future potential of SpaceX Starlink, because these investors understand telecommunications. They understand what space can bring. And also they do understand that there will be a ton of government contracts involved here. And government contracts are very lucrative. So not only do you have the government contracts, but you also have a ton of, once again, recurring revenue that's coming in monthly, at the tune of $120 per month if you are a residential user, or $165 a month if you're using it remotely. Roaming package. So this is a major, major corporation that is just massive. And like they said in this article, it is the #1 privately held startup company in the world. I wouldn't call it a startup company anymore like they did, but still, 40 months, it's probably not a startup anymore. But either which way, it is the #1 privately held company, once again, valued at $350 billion. Unbelievable. So what say you? If you had the opportunity today to purchase SpaceX Starlink stock, would you buy it? Would you get involved with SpaceX Starlink as of today? Everything that you know, would you? Now, I told you already, for me, I would have got involved 40 months ago, okay? I would have made just a crazy amount of money, but there was no possibility of doing so. So that being said, what would you do? As of right now, do you think that we're kind of at the cap of SpaceX Starlink, or do you think that it's going to continue to grow? We're at 5 million customers right now. Do you think that it will grow in the future, or do you think we're plateauing? My personal opinion, we're going to see double. Within the next year or two, there will be 10 million. That's my personal opinion. That is a doubling of the size. And if that is the case, we'll probably see a valuation move from 350 billion, probably closer to 500 or even 700 billion dollars within a year or two. That's my prediction. We'll see if I'm right. I don't know. Once again, down below, what say you? I would like to hear from you. And if you don't want to put anything down there, like I said before, throw an emoji down there. I would be happy with that. And finally, head over to my website, JCristina.com, where you can find all the photography tools I've invented for you and me over the many years, and hopefully there's something there that you might like. Take a look at some of my shirts, my merch, my tees, my books, my cups, everything. Check it out. If there's something there that you like, please pick it up and support me and my family. Many blessings to you and your family. Stay safe, stay healthy, stay connected, maybe through Starlink. And we'll see you in the next one. Love you all.